Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to Rolling Conversations with Wheelchair Sports New South Wales. We're really delighted this afternoon to be talking to Eliza Ault Connell. Eliza is a Commonwealth Games silver medalist, a World Championship silver medalist, Paralympian, and another much-loved member of the Wheelchair Sports New South Wales community. A great cook and a whole bunch of other things we're going to have a chat about. So, Eliza, welcome.
Hey, Mick, how are you?
Yeah, really good. So it's great to see you. As I've said each time we have these chats, that this idea is really about connecting our community and staying in touch with each other at a time when we're not rolling. And of course, we'd love to be rolling as soon as possible. Starting in our chat, interested from your point of view, of course, you were headed to the Paralympics this year for wheelchair track and road. And then, of course, the date changes and 12 months down the track. How do you cope with that sort of change? You know, what was that like for you? I imagine there was probably a bit of a run up to it where you were expecting the news, but when you actually heard that it was delayed a year, how did you respond?
Yeah, absolutely, Mick. I mean, like everyone around the globe at the moment, our plans have all changed, really. In fact, I was due to be over in the UK racing the London Marathon just this weekend gone. So it's not only the Paralympics, it's basically the whole year. But at the end of the day, the reason that we're not competing and we're not doing the things that we would normally be doing, it's a very good reason that we're staying home and we're staying safe.
And how are you staying fit then? Have you got a bit of a gym set up there at home, or do you get out and your hand cycle, or how are you, keeping the fitness levels up?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm still training 100%, like I was just, 6-7 weeks ago before all of the shutdowns began to happen. I'm lucky enough that I've got rollers set up at home. And to be perfectly honest, Mick, I did pretty much 90% of my training on rollers prior to COVID-19 anyway. So for me, things haven't actually changed that much. I purchased a couple of kettlebells. We've got a few stretch bands. We've got a few extra weights, gym equipment around the house. But other than that, I'm pretty lucky that, I'm able to do what I do from home, albeit, with 3 kids that are floating around, usually, throwing something in my face or talking to me, Mum, where's my sock? Or putting a dog on my back, like I was doing some Pilates today and they're putting the dog on my back and taking photos. So this is what I'm dealing with, and it's actually pretty fun.
Yeah, cool. Hey, and so interested in your Paralympic program then. Of course, it's the later year, but still aiming for that. What is your program of events? Many people within our community will know and have followed your career for a long time, but there might be a bunch of people out there who don't know what your events are. Can you give it a sense of what you're aiming for in Tokyo?
Yeah, sure. So World Championships last year, I did the one, 4, 8, 15 and 5,000. So it was a pretty big program. We've kind of tweaked that a little bit leading into Tokyo when we're looking at the 4, 8, 15 and marathon at this stage, which is still quite a large program, but I guess we're quite fortunate being wheelchair athletes that we can do multiple events as well. So I love a big program. At the end of the day, I love racing. Racing is what I absolutely love to do. The more events, the better.
And where's your strength as a wheelchair racer then? Do you have a pet distance in there? Plenty of people will be watching you in Tokyo next year. And of course, as you say, we're watching and following your progress over a bunch of the marathons and different competitions that you do. But where's your strength in terms of distance, do you think?
Oh, Mick, that's a really tough question. I have to say I've got a really soft spot for the 400 meters because essentially it's just going as hard as you can. There's no drafting. It's racing in its purest form for me. But then, get me on the road, get me doing a marathon out there with the girls. And I absolutely love that too. So, if I had to pick one, I'd probably go the 400 meters.
Okay.
Mm.
You were competing again in the GIO Ausday 10K this year, of course, on Australia Day, and you've done that for a couple of years. But also, you before you had a family, you were very successful in the Ausday. In fact, I think you had won that race 3 times. That race must hold a pretty special place for you, I imagine, on Australia Day, and the fact.
100%. I mean, Australia Day is just such an incredible day. To be an Australian and to be able to compete in your own country. on Australia Day is just something really, really special. And Down by the Rocks is just absolutely beautiful. And, being able to share that with your fellow athletes and also share that with racers from all over the world is something pretty special. And, to have had success in that event previously is, pretty awesome. And I hope to, continue having success in the future there.
Yeah, great. It's also very special, isn't it, when the emerging athletes and perhaps the athletes that have been competing for a longer time are together. There's very few races, there are very few sports actually, where people of all of those abilities and all of those levels of experience can compete together. I imagine that's a special part from an athlete's point of view, being able to roll with those that are rolling for the first time.
100%, Mick. I mean, that's just such a unique event because exactly like you said, we've got the elites of the wheelchair racing world, and then we've got these amazing kids, development athletes that are there because, they want to race and they want to learn more, and being able to share that with them and, also take the time out. It's not just about the actual racing, it's the before, the after, and, being able to share the day with them, but also share some racing with them, some racing tips and tricks and all those kinds of things is pretty special as well. So, it's just such an incredible day. And oh gosh, probably like many of us racers sitting at home tonight, we can't wait to get back next year.
Absolutely, we can't. Hey, we've got a bunch of people that are sending through hellos to you and watching along from home. So to all those people watching, please send us your questions as well, and we'll get as many of those up for Eliza as we can throughout this half an hour chat. We mentioned GIO in terms of the GIO Day 10K, and of course you only in the last couple of months did a great campaign with GIO. I had the pleasure of coming down and seeing the shooting of that down at Carriageworks in Sydney on what must have been one of the hottest days I can remember. What was that experience like? You're there with the spritzer and the whole thing and the cameras and the lights, and I don't know, are you used to that now, or what's the experience of being on a film set like that for you?
Oh, Mick, that day, oh my gosh, do you remember? It was literally 42 degrees. It was horrendous. And the brief was that they wanted, kind of sweaty, sexy, cool. And boy, did they get sweaty. Don't know if they got the sexy or the cool in there, but they definitely, they nailed the sweaty. But look, in all seriousness, GIO have been such incredible supporters of Wheelchair Sports New South Wales for, over 10 years now. And to be able to celebrate that, in the form of getting spritzed down and on a 42 degree day, it was a great experience. But yeah, it's something that each time you do it is always a lot of fun, and being able to, my kids also dropped into the shoot and, have them be a part of things too and see what, it's not all about, jumping on the rollers and training or going to races, but there's other elements to being an athlete as well.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of your kids, you guys, for anyone that follows Eliza on Instagram, you'll have seen some isolation antics is the only way I can possibly describe it. I'm going to go through a few of these, and you might be able to describe what's involved for those that haven't seen them yet. One of them was there were members of your family eating spaghetti with their toes.
Yes. Have you ever eaten spaghetti with your toes? I must.
Not yet.
Let's actually add a little bit more clarity to the situation. There were forks involved. We weren't eating off people's toes.
Sure. Thanks for that. That's much clearer.
But there were forks, so that's definitely not weird.
That would be weird. Okay.
Have you ever tried it, Mick?
No, I'm going to, though. Tell us what it's all about.
You should completely do it. So basically, we got a bowl of spaghetti, and make sure you don't break it up in the cooking process. We want nice long strings of spaghetti. And you get a few forks, you put a bowl of pasta, the spaghetti in the middle, and you all sit around and you get that fork between your toe and you basically try and feed your friend. And it is an absolute blast. And it is a great hip workout as well. Really test your hip mobility.
Well, there you go. Everyone at home looking for something to do in isolation. And it doesn't stop there. The second one I've got listed here is a Lego Sushi Train. So
we did. We absolutely love sushi in this house. And I've always made it, love to cook, absolutely love to cook. So throwing a bit of sushi together is something, that we do quite often in our house. We also love to visit the Sushi Train. And, my son said to me, oh, Mum, you know what I'm really missing? the Sushi Train. And I thought, you know what, we can do this. And they brought their Lego train out to the dining table, and we got some sushi on there. And honestly, it entertained them for a good 10 minutes. No, jokes.
It appears your ingenuity knows no bounds. I mean, then you were interesting toilet paper in another post I think I saw.
Well, you know, you got to be creative in times of need. You know, we didn't have kettlebells back then, but we had toilet rolls. So that's, you know, you use what you can. It's all about being adaptive.
Well, in fact, it looks like Madison de Rosario is talking about that here. She's talking about your versatility and your cooking skills, entire meals made in a single mug with no kitchen in shady Florida hotels.
Yes, I was waiting for this, Madison. And I even bought the mug home. So basically, we were in, you know, a seedy area in Florida before the London Marathon last year, between the Boston and London Marathons. And, you know, as athletes, when you're in America, you don't, you know, you kind of like, oh, well, you don't want to eat out all the time because the meals are so big and, you know, not ideal. So we decided to do a bit of meal prepping. So I purchased us a couple of mugs each, and it was amazing what we could create. We had gnocchi, we had oatmeal, you know, you name it, we did it, and we ate it out of a mug.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, look, the fun continues because then, well, a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
There were donuts on clotheslines at one point.
That was with my children, not with Madison. Although Maddie,
Yeah,
that's an invitation. Let's do it, babe. Yeah, so we did the donut challenge last week as well. We hung some donuts off a string and ate the donuts. And yeah, of course, that went down a treat. Donuts. Everyone loves donuts.
You look like you've been having a ball there, you and the family. But like Maddie, you've got a little dog that features very heavily in your Instagram feed. Perhaps not quite as often as Maddie's dog does, but nonetheless, yours features a bit. Tell us about your dog. What's the little dog's name, and how long have you had the dog for?
So we actually have two dogs. We've got a Brittany Spaniel who's as mad as a meat-axe. And recently I finally acquired my dream dog, a miniature dachshund. And his name is Wally, and he's 5 months old, and he's actually staring at me through the door right now. And he, you know, he just likes to get involved in everything and anything. And, you know, like today he was doing some Pilates with me, and then the kids thought it would be funny if they put him on my back. And so the kids are right into it as well. But he's a bit of trouble. He's staring at me right now, and he's probably thinking, well, why are you sitting there? Why are you not letting me in? Because you'd bark. That's what you do. And that's why you're outside.
And where does the name Wally come from? That's pretty cool. Was there a Wally in the past, or?
No, because he's a dachshund, and so he's little, and you lose him all the time. And then what do you say?
What a Wally.
No.
No?
Where's Wally?
Of course. Everyone at home got that. Yeah.
Yeah. So we actually, I grabbed him a cat bell a few weeks ago because we were like, where is he? Like, we seriously can't find him. And he'd be in the most obscure places, like under a pile of clothes, or he'd like jumped up into the bed and he's under the doona covers and things. So at least now with the cat bell, we kind of know where he is.
So David Francis is asking for Wally to get on camera at some stage. We'll see how we go. We might bring him up on the screen at the end there. Hey, Eliza, you mentioned cooking and your love of cooking. Did that get passed down from somewhere? Is that, you know, from your mum or your dad's side, or an auntie or an uncle, or where did that love of cooking come from, do you think?
Do you know what? I think growing up in an ethnic household, you know, food is such a way of life. And, you know, there was always something tasty being cooked, or you're going around to have a celebration and food was an integral part of a celebration. And, you know, I love being able to prepare fresh, healthy food, essentially. And quite often now, you know, I look at restaurant menus and things like that, and cafe menus, and I go, oh, what am I going to have? Because I can make that, I can make that, I can make that. So if I go out, like, I want it to be really, really good.
Fair enough. Hey, please get the questions ready, and we're going to be putting a bunch those on screen for you. Tony Saul saying, hi, Eliza from Bridie. So Bridie Saul watching on.
Oh, Bridie. Hey, Bridie.
Which is cool to have everyone at home and watching on. You and I agree on a lot of things. I think philosophically we agree what a great community wheelchair sports is. There's a whole bunch of things we agree on, but there is one thing that we discovered we disagree on, and it was at the GIO AusDay 10K launch dinner in 2020 in January this year, and it involves, how would I put it, unsolicited grooming of your partner. So for those listening,
very serious topic, Mick. I'm glad you brought this up.
I'm a hard-hitting interviewer, and so you might be able to give us your perspective. But the idea is it permissible if you see, say, a stray ear hair on your partner, simply to pluck that at the dinner table?
Yes.
You and I are on opposing sides, so
I'm going to interject straight away. Yes, straight out. You can't leave it. Once you've seen it, you can't unsee it. I mean, we've all seen Molly. Enough said. Yeah. You know, once you can't unsee it.
So we might get some feedback of those watching at home whether they agree with Eliza that plucking your partner's stray hairs without asking is okay or not.
Earwax, another great one. Earwax.
Okay.
Yes.
Does it extend to watching those sort of pimple poppers on YouTube? Do you go that far?
Yes.
Okay.
Can we still be friends?
Oh, no. I think we could be friends, but yeah, I'm now thankful for social distancing all of a sudden. Hey, we got some questions that Ali is going to send up to you very shortly, so we'd love to get the community asking. Before we do that, I just wanted to ask you, I saw a video about a coach, or your original coach, Paul Angel, if I'm pronouncing that last name right. It was a really beautiful piece, and there are so many athletes in our community who would owe so much to their coaches. I'm just interested in that story because it appeared like you had a very special relationship with Paul.
100%. Look, I'm very fortunate now, you know, to be coached by Fred Periak. But prior to that, my first coach, Paul Angel, he's played such a huge part in my life. We met in 2001 at a training camp and instantly kind of, you know, connected. And he had never really coached anyone before I was looking for a coach. So it was pretty much, you know, match made in heaven, blind leading blind. But, you know, he's played such a huge part in my life, in all seriousness. My father passed away in 2002. And when I got married in 2007, he actually gave me away at our wedding. You know, so he's like a father to me, and I'm very fortunate to have had him, you know, play a huge part in my athletics career, but my life in general as well.
It's a great reminder of the role of coaches, isn't it? And as I say, many people watching in our community, athletes sitting there watching Facebook tonight will know what a significant role in our lives our coaches play. So first question, and thank you, and please send them in and we'll get as many of them up as we can. Dennis Devereaux, is it true that you will not retire from athletics until you win 3 gold medals and set 3 world records? That is what you can say, that is when you can say, I'm sorry, you are better than your husband, Kieran. Wow. So straight at it, Dennis.
Hard hitting. Dennis is kind of, that's how he rolls. Yeah. Do you know what? Someone asked me literally only just yesterday. They said, you know, when do you plan on retiring? And I said, well, you know, I at this stage, you know, retirement is something that I'm not even thinking about, to be perfectly honest. And then they said, you're going to be one of those ones that never officially retire. So yeah, okay. I'll plant that little seed, but yeah, most definitely, it's a very competitive household here. You know, we've got our training set up down here with my chair on rollers and his bike next to mine, and you know, we may be, you know, just rolling on our wahoos, but you know, we're competitive.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So yeah, he has won a few more medals than I have. So yeah, game on, moles.
There you go. Okay. Hey, Jess asks about, apart from Pilates with the dog, what's your favourite ISO activity with the kids to help them keep active? So we've heard a lot about eating spaghetti with your toes and building Lego sushi trains, but is there anything that the kids and you are doing together from a, you know, I suppose a health and wellbeing point of view?
Yeah, 100%. We've got a giant trampoline out the back of the house. So trampoline is an integral part of, head out the back. The kids run up to the trampoline. Frank, the dog, not Wally, the little wiener dog. Frank, the Brittany Spaniel, jumps up on the trampoline, and it's just absolute carnage on there. So trampoline, most certainly. But we're also very fortunate that we live near a reserve. So we go out bush and, we just go out and discover things and get amongst nature. And, we're pretty lucky to live where we live, and I love where we live.
Nice. Hey, Warwick Holmes is watching along from Bathurst, the rooster up there.
Hey, Rooster.
There he is. And Rooster asks, what is the most important thing you take away from the sport? It's a good question.
And Rooster, I think you'll agree with this. The community that is sport, in any sport, and we've seen that most recently over the last couple of weeks, where we were due to run the Boston and London marathons. So when Boston was due to be run, over 70 wheelchair athletes from all over the globe came together on Zoom, and we all pushed the men's course record time, 1 hour 18 together, shared stories, and it was just actually a really beautiful moment. I must admit, and I'm clearly not American, but they played the national anthem before we started. And I actually started to tear up because, just the fact that, we could do this. There was an athlete, a junior athlete from New Zealand, and he got up at like 1 a.m. to do this. We had athletes, it was 11 p.m. our time. All over the globe, everyone was coming together. And it's just the community and the love of what we do and being able to share that with fellow athletes.
Well said. And that's what Wheelchair Sports New South Wales has always been about, isn't it? It's why we're so lucky to be involved with this community. Richard Cordukes, g'day Eliza, you're a hero and a role model to a lot of people. Shout out to Richard. But I'd like to hear about your struggles when you are training, racing overseas, meeting with your coach, your children and your husband, your family, your job, and just relaxing. There you go. So off you go.
I'm going to have struggles trying to answer all of that, Richard. I guess one of the struggles I do face is I say yes to everything. Because I just love to get involved, and sometimes I overcommit and I do way too many things and I try and balance way too many plates, and that's something that I'm trying to adjust and trying to learn at 21 years of age. There's still plenty of time. But one of the things particularly I do struggle with with my training. And, everyone views it differently. I don't particularly see it as a struggle, but I tend to always do a little bit more. And I don't know whether my coach is tuning in and listening to this, but he knows what I do. And I sometimes have to message him and say, oh, Fred, is it okay if I have another little roll today? Because, I just love getting in the race chair. And even if it's for, half an hour, just, sometimes some evenings, all I want to do is just get back in that race chair and just relax, because at the end of the day, it's my form of relaxation as well. So overtraining is a little bit of a problem sometimes.
Okay. Oh, well, thanks for sharing that.
Now everyone knows my secret.
Pretty much. Keep the questions coming in the comments. One of the things we were discussing earlier was pimple popping. Although this Ali showing some discretion and not putting this one up, I can see that Tony Saul suggests OMG, pimple popping is the best. So it appears you have some support out there from some. Can we just block Ali, Tony from now on, please? That'd be great. Hey, Tom Parker, how does living in regional Australia change the way you train and interact with your coach compared to athletes being in the big cities?
Todd, look, we know this Albury-Wodonga area, is just absolutely incredible. My coach, Fred Periak, is Canberra-based, which is 3.5 hours away. So unfortunately, I don't get to do a lot of face-to-face training with him. However, what I miss out on there is, well and truly made up by the community that is in the Albury-Wodonga area. I can be out training on the road, any time of day, and there'll always be a familiar car driving past, and they'll do the toot 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 toot. And it's things like that make the journey and make what you do so special. So, and it's very much it's a country thing, and I absolutely love living in regional Victoria, New South Wales.
Well, and Todd's a man of the South too, based down there at Wollongong, and he loves it as well. So a question here from Josh. How would you describe your personal style, and what do you do to constantly challenge yourself mentally? Over to you.
My personal style, because clearly he knows I wear too much Lululemon. Is that what you're having a go at, Josh? But challenging myself mentally is always just trying to be better, essentially. So whatever I've done today is fantastic, and I'm grateful for what I've done today. But tomorrow, let's try again and try and better that, essentially. And that applies to all aspects of my life.
Yeah, great. Keep the comments going. There's a lot of support for my position on not plucking stray hairs. We're not going to put them up because there's too many. But just rest assured, there's absolutely no one on my side, and I'm devastated. Andrew Tebbett says, hi, I'm a recent single leg below knee and was wondering, can someone like me still do chair racing?
Oh my gosh, Andrew, yes. We would love to see more amputees get into wheelchair sports. So a little bit about my previous career before I got into the racing wheelchair. I actually used to run on sprint prosthetics for a number of years and absolutely loved it, absolutely incredible, but it's really harsh on your body. And it got to a point where I could run and I could do my training, but I could barely walk. And that was when I discovered wheelchair racing. So Andrew, yeah, absolutely. We would love to get you in a chair. Please shoot your details over, because we would, depending on where you are around Australia, we'd love to get a chair to you.
Well, we've got his details now, so I'm sure David Krantz and the sports team at Wheelchair Sports New South Wales will stalk him. You're a good stalker. David's a good stalker. One way or the other, we will get to Andrew and make sure
find you.
We get him involved. But we will find you. That was a bit frightening. The Rooster's back. The Rooster said, I just want to thank you for being such an amazing mentor to me. You rock. So.
Oh, Rooster, how good is this kid? Seriously, he is at it. I absolutely love your passion for everything you do, and I can't wait to share Paralympic Games with you, whether it be next year in Tokyo or Paris in 2024 or LA in 2028. Yes, I'm aware of how old I'll be, Mick, before you interject.
I wasn't going to say anything.
But we may change sports. I know. Dude, I will be under 40 in Tokyo, can I just add?
Yeah, you talk about that a little too much.
Yeah, I know. I'm so proud of that fact.
I've just fired a message from Louise Savage, of course, patron and the incredible coach. And Louise has said a message to Andrew to say absolutely. And there it is now to get Andrew involved. So, I mean, this is the community at its best, isn't it? When someone puts their hand up and says, I want to get involved. I am so privileged to work with this community that wraps an arm around someone and says, come and join in
almost a kind of a freaky kind of way of like, hey, we found another one. We get a bit excited, don't we?
A little bit, yeah.
Particularly when you love what you do so much, you just want to be able to share that. And so when you find out someone's interested, you know, naturally you just want to get them involved and share that passion with them.
Yeah, absolutely. We've only got a couple of minutes left. So what we have generally done, Eliza, at the end of our chat, and thank you for giving us your time in amongst sushi trains and cooking and eating spaghetti and doing all the incredible things you and the family are doing and looking after Wally. Is Wally there by chance? Are we going to get Wally on screen? Or?
Yes. Do you want Wally? I can go and get him.
Let's get Wally.
Give me 30 seconds.
Yeah, go for life. I'll just hold court in the meantime. Someone told me once I should always have a joke ready in case I got stuck in this situation. So for those watching, I went to a wedding recently where 2 TV antennas got married and the reception was great. How about that? There he is. Get Ollie.
Seriously, how cute is he?
Very cute. He's
so gorgeous, but he is he's trouble. But yeah, love it.
How old's Wally?
He's nearly 5 months old now.
Okay,
Yeah,
there it
so
is.
he's kind of been my dream dog that I've been threatening to get for a very long time. And I waited until my husband went away for the weekend and I may have bought a dog.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Unapproved? Yeah.
Yeah, now
Um,
you're like, really, Eliza, yeah, just stay in Aubrey.
I
Just,
think
yeah,
so.
you're
I
weird.
think so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, that's
Hey, it's been so much fun talking to you. Thank you. It's nice to meet Wally, and it's really great for our community to see you. You're looking well, you're fit, and you're having fun. And then you and I were talking just before we came on air about being grateful, and we're really, at our place trying to practice that gratitude. And it looks like you guys are really taking advantage of the time as well together as a family. So it looks like gratitude is a big part of what you're trying to do at the moment too.
Yeah, 100%. Look, I mean, there are some terrible, terrible stories that we've all heard around the globe. I've got many friends overseas that have lost multiple family members. So, staying home, staying safe, downloading the app, whether we love it, hate it, all of those things, we need to do the right thing so we can get over this and get back on with life, essentially, because, we've all got things that we want to do and we don't want to be stuck at home. So let's get together and get rid of it.
Agreed. Now you better get back to hair plucking and pimple popping. Eliza, thank you for being part of Rolling Conversations. And it was great to see you looking so well. And we can't wait to see you in Tokyo next year.
Oh, can't wait, Mick. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. Thanks so much for having me.
Great to see you. See you later, everybody.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Bye.